Welcome to episode 4 of the Small Worlds podcast. If you're coming back, thanks for joining us again. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. I hope by now you know our names, but I'm Paulina, of course, and I'm here with our co host, Ollie. How are you, Ollie?
I'm good. Thank you, Paulina. Good to be here. I love this. I love coming in and doing a podcast with you.
Oh,
This is our audience. Honestly, our audience is blessed. They get both of us, and we get them. We're blessed too. It's a good episode, good podcast. We're here, you know.
I feel that. I'm excited too, and I definitely look forward, like every episode, I'm always looking forward to it. Last episode, we got into some really interesting conversations, I think, about creation, and we're going to be carrying on those conversations today. I just want to do a really quick recap about last episode. I feel like this topic, and maybe it's just the way that I talk, but I feel like this topic can get really confusing, I guess. But um, I'm just trying to verbalize my thoughts. So I feel like sometimes like that can come across a little like fuzzy, but it's because like I'm just trying to get it out, but and like help people understand like how I'm kind of thinking about it. So I do apologize for that if the topic is a little confusing, but I'm truly trying to be as clear as I can. With that, last episode we talked about how creation isn't standardized and that it doesn't necessarily take talent. Um, we talked about degrees at which people can create. We talked about what what does a creation contribute to, which will be different for everything and everyone. Um, how will it affect the audience? What are you consuming that influences what you are creating? And how these questions ultimately decide what you are contributing to through your creation. And one of the other things we talked about last episode is how the creative process can be applied to creating your life. Was there anything you wanted to start off with, Ollie, or do you want me to just get into it?
Start off. Let's get into it. Let's start our audience off
Okay.
because you know me. I've got a lot to say.
True. Okay. Okay. So I feel like last episode there was just so much to talk about. And it was long, number one. But like it's just I just feel like the topic, there's just so many things to say, like Ollie said. Um, so I just want to kind of double back a little bit. I just kind of want to double back a little bit and like the continue to elaborate on the part that when we were talking about the degrees of creation. Um, and I want to use the word creation and operate like as synonyms basically. So like I feel like creation, you can think of that more as like art. But operation, I would think that more as like a day-to-day kind of thing, which, from last episode, we were talking about how like when you're creating, like ultimately you're creating your life. And so I just feel like operate like kind of alludes more to like your life. And when like you think of like creation, you think more of like art. But I think they can be used like interchangeably because like you're creating art, you're creating your life, but I feel like people will think of like operate of like when they think of operate, they'll think more about like how they operate in their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to use those words like interchangeably. But for the sake of trying to not make this more confusing than it already is, um I'm just going to separate it into creating or operating at a low degree or creating and operating at a high degree. So just those two, like low degree, high degree. Um so I feel like to kind of break it down a little bit more and like to understand creation or operating at a degree, like whatever degree you are creating at or whatever degree someone else is creating at, I feel like a way you can understand that is with this little flow chart that I have created. So I feel like it always starts with the creative process, like from the beginning, whatever you decide that you're creating from the get go. It doesn't matter what it is. And we went over that last episode, and I just kind of went over that right now. But yeah, it starts with that. Whatever you decide, this is what it's going to be, and going through that creative process, and realizing that, like, it doesn't really take talent. You can just like do it, like we said last episode. Um, if you want to think about the degree, I think it's really important to ask, who is the audience for what you are creating, and how will it be received by this audience? And as well as, what influence do you have um, to create what you are creating? What is influencing you, and how was this influence accumulated? And I think the answers to these questions will show you what you are contributing to, and when you find out like what you're contributing to, then you can find out the degree that you're creating at or operating at. Did that make a little more
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's like
Okay, cool.
I think with um creation and operation, it's theory versus practice, right? Or like practical theory and then theoretical practice, where in terms of art as a function of creation, that would be like your math class, whereas operations would be like your school, where it's like, okay, how is what I've learned in math going to help me everywhere else? So I think
Mm,
I think that's actually like a really brilliant way to like, put it. Um,
mhm,
but or not but like and the way in which we create, or like when we create, right, and we talk
mhm,
about the proverbial audience. Um, when you're creating art, the audience is not separate from you, but almost a component of the function. Whereas when you're operating, the audience isn't, or I feel like with me personally, a whole lot of my life, I thought the audience was my friends and my family, my peers and my superiors. But that's not the case. The audience is you. When you're operating, you have to build the life you want to see, the life you want
mhm.
to invest in, the life you want to um, indulge in. That's in your the audience is internal, not external.
Yeah. And well, I think like that's why it's so important to ask that question, because like some people don't even ask themselves that question, like, who is the audience, you know? Like, it's based off of the assumption of like, oh, everyone else is the audience, but it's like, did you even take the time to ask? Like, did you even ask yourself, who are you doing this for? Like, because I do think there's certain art, and sometimes in life there's certain things that you do and you truly do them for other people, but it's like sometimes you create things just for yourself, and sometimes you think do things in life just for yourself, but I feel like the process of like, of who is this for, I feel like that is always like missed. Like, it's such a crucial like first part of creating something, but yet is like so missed. And so that's why I think like, that's why I say that like, asking who is the audience, it is very telling of what degree you're operating at. Because if you're not asking yourself that question, you're operating down here. But if you're willing to ask yourself who is the audience, you're operating up here. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
that's kind of what I'm like getting at, and like the way that I kind of see it in my head. But
My I my bad.
no, you're good. Go
My
ahead.
might I propose the idea that the degrees exist on two scales, and they're inverted, right? So on a high degree, when you're creating your life, the audience is you, and the further you get away from yourself externally, those degrees kind of get lower. But I guess I'm going up, but like the idea is that from you to external is low degree of creation or operation, but on the other side, when it's a coming from external to internal, the closer you get to your audience or your proposed audience, while still, I guess, being grounded within yourself. So like high operation and high creation, they're not inverse, but correlated. they're correlated. They both go up. But as you give yourself to an external force, the more you can do that, the more true the art will be because it's a connection, you know. Or that's the way I'm.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily wrong. I think that kind of goes back to what I was saying about like how it's different for everyone. Like that could be the way like you see it, you know? And like I don't think that's wrong at all. I think that like if that's the way that you like operate and that's the way you see things and that is authentically like what you believe, then I believe in that. You know what I mean? But like if someone if someone was to say something different, I couldn't sit here and be like, "Oh, like no, that's wrong." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think at the very base, at the very fundamental like base of this, it's like you have to ask. You have to ask the question, you know? It's like if that's your answer, that's your answer. But it's like if you don't ask, then you're just moving off of assumption. You're creating and operating off of assumption. You know what I mean? So like that's why I think like right off the bat, if you're willing to ask yourself like, who am I doing this for? What is influencing me? You know, and all of that, then that's right off the bat, you're like, you're already operating at a degree that most people aren't because a lot of people are just moving based off of assumption because they're not asking themselves, who am I doing this for? They're not asking themselves, what is influencing me to be this way? You know?
Hmm. They
That's kind of
oh, I was gonna say like the degrees of creation almost correlate to the degrees of consciousness. Like how conscious are you of the like
you
the
can
more
say
conscious.
that. Yeah. I mean,
I
like,
got you.
I don't want to put it that way. Like, I said this last episode too. I always refer to last episode. Like, every time I'm like, last episode, but we are creating a little bit of a narrative here. But, anyways, last episode, I said that I like one of my favorite things is finding like synchronicities in science and spirituality. Like, I personally feel like I've always been like I was I've always loved like science. Like in school, like it was always my favorite subject. Always like science, like your anatomies, your biologies, chemistries, like all of that. It's always been like my favorite subject. But um I've also really loved like spirituality and religion and learning about religion and all of that, which this is kind of a side note, but I do want to get into this really quickly. I feel like that is my because I love science, right? I didn't say this a couple episodes ago, but I'm a Virgo rising. So I feel like my love for science comes from my Virgo rising, comes from the like love of just like knowing the why to everything. I feel like that's very Virgo energy, you know? And I feel
Can't
like my
confirm it is.
and I feel like that's Virgo, like my love for science is Virgo, but I feel like my love for like theology and religion and spirituality is my Sagittarius. And I'm a Sagittarius sun. So I just feel like both of those like I've always been drawn to like both of those things. So when I can like find synchronicities between like science and um like spirituality, that is like my ultimate like favorite thing in life. And so when I sit here and I explain, because I don't think you're wrong. I think when you say like, oh, well, the degrees correlate with like how conscious you are, I don't think that's wrong at all. But I want people to come to that conclusion themselves. Like I want them to have the like I want them to have my model, which is who like the model is okay, creative process, who is the audience, what's your influence, what is this contributing to, what is the degree. That's the process. That's the science part, but the spiritual part is realizing that the more you work through that process, the more conscious you're going to become, you know?
I got
And
you.
that's like and like I don't want to tell people that. Like I don't want to sit here and be like that's what's going to happen. I want people to experience that for themselves and have that experience like um themselves, you know, cuz I just want them to have the tools and whatever comes about with the tools, that's that's them. You know, like I don't
Yeah.
like kind of like I give you like if I were to like give you the tools for it and whatever you make out of it, if it's authentically what you believe and what you are, then I think that's right. I think that's correct, you know? But I think like the basis has to be like it has to be fundamental and it has to be like um constant, you know, scientifically.
Yeah.
But it's like that's the independent variable. The independent variable is the format, but the dependent variable is what you make out of it, you know?
No, I get you completely. Like,
Mhm.
um, you like literally just achieved your goal. Like, I went through the process and I came to that conclusion. Um,
Mhm.
and I, I feel like that's very, noble, you know? Because like,
Stop.
it's, it's very important, I think. And, that should be something for like, that, I feel like we should continue that, you know? Like
Yeah.
delve into a bit of esoteric, you know? Get
Mhm.
show like the theology, theosophy, philosophy, and stuff, and get
Yeah.
into that as well. Because like social media is I would say all not alter. Oh, okay. I'm gonna build it. I'm gonna build it. Social media is an alternate reality that we get to via the portals in our phones, tablets, computers, etc., etc. And
Wow.
what that means for us is we can influence society, influencers, you know? So,
But
well,
it's like, what are you influencing? You know, like what are you influencing? And like
the audience.
you are influencing the audience, but it's like what do you want to portray, you know? Like and I think influencers and content creators skip what I'm saying. They skip this whole process of what do you want to contribute to? Like, what degree are you operating at? Like, that is what I'm getting at. Like they are skipping that entire process because I'm like, if I'm gonna get on here and I'm gonna tell people things, I'm gonna make sure I feel that way. And like, that's like me, you know? And I'm not going to get on here and be like, this is the way it is. This is my opinion. And if you don't agree with me, fuck off, basically. Like, you know, but there's so many content creators and there's so many influencers that feel that way. And it's like, it's just like, if, like I said, if I'm going to get on here, then I want it to be like what I believe and who I am, you know? But first of all, I feel like nobody wants to see that, number one. And also nobody wants to create that either. You know, it's a very, but yet we value authenticity and we value originality. You know, it's just like it doesn't make any sense. So if I'm going to get on here and I'm going to say something, then I'm going to think about it and I'm going to think about what am I contributing to? Because it's like what would I want to hear? I want to hear someone tell me to be me. I know that's like very cliche almost, but like I feel like that is like the the best thing that you can do is just like be you like authentically, but you have to have the tools, especially in a society that we are feeding off like everyone and everything is telling us what we want and like who we need to be and all of that. If you can't see me, I'm holding up air quotes, but basically like especially in a society where like everything is influencing us, I feel like it's so important to have the tools and have the format to truly think about what you are contributing to and making sure that it's aligning with what you want, you know?
Yeah. No, I have to get that completely. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think okay, so this is gonna sound really crazy, but I think you, us, this podcast is the solution. Like very genuinely. I feel like that we let us get on here and tell people, hey, go be yourselves. We can do that. We have that power. We have the platform.
Yeah.
That's us.
And
I
that's
think
that's my
oh my bad.
goal. Like that's what I want to do is like That is literally my goal. But like I said, like I think people I I want people to want that, you know, but I can't make them want that. Like that's why I also said like last episode like I'm just going to keep putting out what I want to put out, and the people that need to hear what I'm saying, they will hear it, you know? And I feel very confident in that. Not to mention that I've never been the kind of person to like to be or do anything like for the sake of other people. I've never been that kind of person. Like for the internet, in my real life, like I have never been the kind of person that like, oh, I'm gonna be this way for this person or whatever, whatever. Like it's like no, like and it also doesn't make any sense to do that. It's like why build a false narrative of who you are and attract the people that don't even like you for who you are, because that's because you're not even being you, you know? Like wouldn't you much rather just be exactly who you are, so that way you know that the people that fuck with you really fuck with you, like they are really down for you and who you are, and not just like this weird ass fake narrative that you put on so that people will like you. But it's like, do they even really like you? No, they just like who you want to be and who you're pretending to be. And I don't like that. That's like number one biggest turnoff ever. I cannot stand that.
No, I get it. Inauthenticity is
Yeah,
the enemy.
it is. It really is. And that's why I just want to come on here and be normal. That's like my goal. Like I just want to come on here and be a normal person, and I don't like want to portray that like I'm any other thing besides like exactly who I am, you know, like that. And I want that, and I can't make people want this, but I want that to inspire the people to do the same thing and to crave authenticity, and not to build false narratives just for the sake of like being liked, even though you're not really being liked. It's just the narrative that you've created that's being liked, you know? Ooh, that was a lot.
No, it
Had
was
to get that off
needed.
my chest. Had to get that
I
off my
felt
chest. But I want to go back, and I do want to say that I feel like we are putting a lot of emphasis on the degree, right? Like low degree, high degree. But um I don't think that I think because like if I see something and I think like, oh, that's operating at a high degree, but say you think the opposite, you think it's operating at a low degree, I think that's important. Like, I think we should disagree on certain things. Like, maybe not all things, but there are certain things we could disagree, and I think that's okay too. Like, I don't think like singular what singularly. Do you know what I'm
singularly.
trying? There we
Yeah.
go. That way, we should all agree that one thing is bad or like one thing is good. I think we should disagree. You know, like
Mhm.
it on a lot of things. Like we should disagree because like we have different thought processes and different experiences that make us think that way, and so like it's like we should disagree. So I think just because if I say something is like low degree, I don't want people to think I'm like shitting on that thing, you know, like it's not the end all be all, because it's like just because I think that, there are a lot of people out there that probably don't think the same thing as me, you know. And so I just, like I said before, I just want people to have these tools so that they can get to their answer, you know? But a lot of people
Mhm.
don't have the tools, and a lot of people aren't even asking themselves these questions. But I think that kind of like how I was just describing that example of like, just because I think something's low degree doesn't mean you have to. I think that itself and the process that I'm describing, um, we should consider that more when we're consuming things, like whatever we watch, whatever we're listening to, like whatever we're consuming, we should take this process into account more, because it'll help you refine, okay, this is low degree, do I want to continue to consume this, you know? Okay, this is high degree, it aligns with me and, you know, what I want, you know, I will continue to consume this. So I think like the process that I'm talking about, it's important for creation, but it's also important for consumption.
I agree. I agree. And this is something I've been not passionate about, but really considering really heavily for a long time. But the amount of media literacy we allow ourselves directly influences how we choose our how we choose what we consume. Like for example, for me, and I tell as many people as I can, um, when you are consuming a piece of media, for example, let's use like YouTube videos. Who is this creator? Where did they come from? Why are they doing this? And two, are you okay with this person trying to sell you something? Because when we talk about ads specifically, social media as a business model is built around two things: data and advertisements. So when you're scrolling for hours and hours and hours, how many ads are you seeing? Where did these ads come from?
Hmm.
And what does that mean for the content you consume? Because a lot of
Yeah.
influencers make the bulk of their money from advertisers and
Hmm.
like commissions from sales or whatever, like conversions from like creator and video to like websites and like things and like buys, right? So like
Hmm.
as a consumer, is the hype house content creator whose entire career at this point at least their point of their career is to make that money and to sell you things. Like, are they the
Hmm.
best source of information? Like, for example,
Yeah.
a whole bunch of stuff that just happened, not recently, but like relatively recently in the like cultural zeitgeist or whatever. The Paul brothers and their like gambling stuff. Like, when Wrexham was popular and he was like doing all those gambling sites and like selling that to like children and stuff, right? So it's
Hmm.
like if this influencer's audience is children to sell to, why do you fit in that category? Or like me talking to like I feel like I'm talking to our
Yowza.
audience. I'm talking to our audience. Like, do you really want to go watch a Jake Paul video
No,
where
I
oh
completely understand. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. You and that was really funny what you just said. You're like, he's selling this to children. Do you really want to be watching?
yeah
That's actually hilarious. But I think like I just want to point this out. That process that you went through when you broke that down, that is the process that I'm talking about. But there are so many people that don't even consider that, like don't even think about that. They are mindlessly scrolling, mindlessly consuming, and are not even considering any of this, like exactly like you said, like why are they selling this to you? Like are you do you really want to be the audience to this? And I think like people think like, oh, well, just because I watch it, it doesn't mean like it's necessarily like getting to me. It's like, no, it does. It is subconscious. It is being embedded into your mind. I've never seen the movie Inception, but I think that's basically what they were getting at. They are incepting you, okay? They are embedding the ideas into your mind, and you're naive to think that it doesn't like affect you. It's just like when people say like if you were like to get up every day and tell yourself like, oh my gosh, I'm so ugly, I hate myself, eventually you'll start believing it. Okay, like
yeah
you will start like feeling that way. And so if you are mindlessly consuming like media and not considering like what they're telling you and what they're selling you, like you start believing it subconsciously. Like you start believing it, and you don't like the worst part is you think it's your own ideas and you think it's your own mind, but it's not. It's the fact that you are unintentionally consuming so many things and you think all of it is yours, but it's not.
I okay listen, I have another thing because like with the reason why and unfortunately I'm not on TikTok right now and it's this is like a huge crux of it, but with TikTok specifically and like Vine for that matter, the the length of the content being that short means that they could slide in an ad right while you're scrolling, and it's 6 seconds, right? So you're or like for Vine, it was 6 seconds. So now someone just takes a 6 second ad. That does like consciously you're like, okay, that wasn't that long. Like just get rid of it or whatever. But like
Mhm.
there's like it your brain does not read once you are
Mhm.
given the ability to read. if you can
Mhm.
see something with your eyes, your brain reads it. You might
Mhm.
not be conscious. Like you might not
Yeah.
notice that you read it, but like
Yeah.
even that passive scroll, it's there. So like
Mhm.
if you're scrolling, like, and it's designed to be that way. Like, and I
Mhm.
said that with like, but like Instagram is a really like big component of this, and I do have Instagram. So and like
Mhm.
YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, like same thing, right?
Mhm.
Now consider, okay, because Twitter also does it. Like the 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 damage that scroll technology has done to attention
The
spans.
the auto scroll.
Oh yeah, because they have auto scroll too. Like it's
Yeah.
at that point you don't even need to consciously move your finger. It's like it's
No.
there. It's
No.
there.
Exactly. And I was thinking about that the other day. Like, I think, TikTok happened. Well, musically happened first of all. We need to pay homage. Homage, is that how you say
Yeah,
it? Homage?
yeah.
We need
Homage.
to
I say
pay it.
homage. You can say it anyway.
Homage. We need to pay the homage to musically because that was the OG. And
Shout out
then
musically.
TikTok comes around, and then all of a sudden Instagram has Reels, and then Facebook has Reels. Don't ask me why I'm on Facebook. Anyways, Facebook has Reels, YouTube has Shorts, Twitter has auto scroll. Like, you cannot tell me there is not something going on. Like, people, like, they want us to be stupid. Like, they want us to be, and I don't have to say who them is, okay? But they want us to be stupid, and we are falling for it. We are very horribly and just very easily falling for it. And like, they were trying to prove how stupid we are, and like, they're proving it, okay? They are proving exactly how stupid we are with all this fucking Reels bullshit and TikTok and auto scroll. Like, they were like, guys, we would make so much money, and like, let's let's
Literally,
let's
literally.
push it,
That's the
let's
thought
push
process.
these ads. Let's make everyone feel bad about themselves so they spend money on shit that actually isn't going to make them feel any better. Yeah, and we're falling for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the way, like, I think with our focus on authenticity and our message of authenticity, that
Mhm.
kind of helps to like not absolve, but like balance the powers, right? We need spaces like ours for people to come and be conscious, or else it's
Yes.
just a sea of unconsciousness and it's
Yes.
an ocean unexplored, really. And if that
Can
ocean
be.
is yourself as a consumer, is you, then you owe it to yourself to delve deep and really search.
Yes. Come be real for a sentence, for a second. Just come be real.
Yes,
Oh
so be
shit,
real.
I just realized that's also an app.
Be real. Oh, be real. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never downloaded Be Real, but
Me.
there's another one. There's another one for you. They're tricking us. Okay? They're tricking us. But come be authentic for a moment. Set down that narrative that you've oh so carefully drawn, and just come be a real person for a second. Like, just be normal. I've said this so often, like, in recent years, like, just be normal. Like, stop being weird. Like, and that coming from me, like, I feel like I feel like I'm not everyone's cup of tea, okay? I think that there are a lot of people out there that would say, "That's a weird girl." That is a weird person. But I just feel like it's because I don't filter myself. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and filter myself for the sake of other people, or like be like more easily digestible because it's for your convenience, Like, why would I do that? Like, just for your convenience. Like, what about my convenience of wanting to be myself? Like, what about that convenience, Like, it's inconvenient for me to sit here and stifle and filter like parts of myself just because like it makes you feel weird or whatever.
No, I agree. I agree. I agree completely. It's I will be honest. I am a victim of self-censorship, but it's
Me
not.
too. I mean,
Oh,
like,
okay.
I'll sit here and say that, but I'm not gonna act like there were moments where I did that, because like I just think sometimes like there is convenience in censoring yourself for the sake of even though I don't like filtering myself, I also don't like confrontation. I don't enjoy confrontation. I don't enjoy arguing. Like that is not what I mean when I say like you should go out and be honest and like not censor yourself. Like I don't think that necessarily immediately means like go cause problems and like make other people feel uncomfortable. Like that's not necessarily what I'm saying. But there are instances where like it's this is so fucked up because it kind of like goes against what I just said, but there are instances where like it's easier to just not be yourself just for the sake of like avoiding confrontation. And that personally for me is worth it because I hate confrontation so much that I would rather just be like, okay, and just leave it at that than like actually speak my mind. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I guess I don't know. I guess like if I sat here and like not necessarily picked fights, but like if I sat here and didn't censor myself every time I disagreed with someone, like how much energy would I be wasting, you know?
Yeah, no, I get you. It's at that point, it's like weighing safety versus
Mm.
like because like you need safety to be yourself. Shout out
Mhm.
Maslow's hierarchy.
Oh, no, that was bars. That was bars, I'm not gonna lie.
So
Because that's true. Like you do need like the space to be yourself. Like you like someone out the other person has to provide that space for you to be yourself. And if they don't provide that, then I would rather censor myself and filter myself if that space isn't being provided, you know?
no, I get that. I have my BTMI, but I have a problem with I guess trying to take that space where
Mhm.
it's like there's no space for me to be myself. Let me like and I'll be honest, it's never like a
Mhm.
rational thought process or like externalization, but that's a testament to the trial and error of figuring out, oh, okay, this is how I acquire that safety that I need,
Mhm.
and how can I either not need to take that space? How can I find a way to not need to like be um what's abrasive in order to receive? Because like abrasion is not safety. That
Yeah.
kind of reaction is not. That's an indicator of unsafeness. So
Yeah.
it's like,
No, yeah. That makes sense. And like I find the best way to ask for the space that you need is to give the space that other people need. Like that is like the best way that like that's kind of like how I gauge if I can let my guard down or not. Like I will start like my I guess like my way of doing that is like I try to make the person feel like as safe and like as like give them all the space they need to like be themselves, like not make them feel like what you're doing is making me feel some type of way. Like I pretty much always like right off the bat meeting someone for the first time, if we know each other for years, however long it's been, I always try to give people their space to be exactly who they are. And if I give them that and then I like start being myself around them, and if they don't reciprocate that, then that's how I know, okay, they don't allow me the space, you know, and I'm not going to push for it because I know up to this point all I've done is given them the space to be themselves. And so if they can't do that for me, then I know this isn't I don't need to stay here any longer because I've already contributed everything I could. And like, if they can't give me the same thing, which I feel like, in my opinion, is bare minimum, the space to be yourself, you know, then that's just not the space for me.
no, I agree. No, oh, that was bars. The bare minimum is the space to be yourself. Like I feel like in my past, I've always been like um not running, but running to spaces where I do need to take that. And
Hmm.
that's in, ooh, we're talking a lot about me right now.
That's okay. I mean, I think like we should talk about our experiences. Like, I think like talking about our experiences like will make people think about their experiences and like will open them up to conversations like with themselves and like make them think about things like what we're talking about, basically like just spaces to be more authentically yourself. And I honestly I do think that's bare minimum. Bare minimum like is the space for someone to be themselves like because it doesn't take any effort. Like it really doesn't take any effort like to do that honestly. Like letting someone else be themselves like what does that really have anything to do with you? Like honestly. So if you can't even like let someone do that, it's like I think if you can't let someone do that, then it's probably just because like you don't allow yourself the space to be yourself. So it's like if you can't even do that for yourself, you can't do it for other people.
These are these are the these are the choices. Like
Mhm.
like to refer back to what I was saying like a minute ago. It's in my experience like running to spaces like that's a choice. Running to spaces that
Mhm.
you have to be abrasive and like those are choices. And then it's like, okay, well if I feel like I need to be abrasive in order to be like comfortable, then like
Mhm.
where is that coming? Where is that
I mean,
stemming from? And
I
like
just
I
think
don't
like
mean
go ahead.
I don't know how that I don't
There
mean
you
to
go.
like get that like get deep in that way. It's more of
Mhm.
the but the fact that I do find myself asking that kind of question is kind of
Mhm.
a point where it's like
Mhm.
the search for like personal reasons, personal drives and motivations. Like
Mhm.
that's the goal. To
Mhm.
because like without those like if what you need is to be more yourself, then the solution to that lies in those questions. It's almost like going
Mhm.
through another kind of creative process where it's
Mhm.
like this is the okay, so like the false personas. Who is that for?
Mhm.
Why is it for them?
Mhm. Mhm.
And what about you makes you feel not comfortable enough, but like motivated enough to
Mhm.
pursue that?
Mhm. No, I think like I know you said it's like another creative process, but I think it's all it's all the same creative process. Like honestly, I think it's all part of the same thing. But like I would shift this more like I know it's a creative process, but I would shift this more into operating. Like this is like the operation, like how you're operating like in your life. But like all of these questions that like are coming up, I feel like you are willing to ask yourself these questions. But there are a lot of people that aren't. Like there's a lot of people that don't even even touch the iceberg, like the tip of the iceberg with these questions. Like I think like so many people are just kind of have been living on autopilot like for a long time and like have never considered these things about themselves. And that's actually my nightmare. I think. I think
It's
waking up one day and like being 40 years old and realizing that I know nothing about myself is like terrifying.
same. That's like my nightmare. But like I think it's like when you called it a nightmare, it like clicked for me. It was like I not read somewhere, but I had gone through a series of events that led me to a specific conclusion, and that is
Mhm.
the autopilot in us people generally is caused by
Mhm.
fear. And like
Mhm.
fear is kind of like a thing that like makes your brain go unconscious. So
Mhm.
then what causes the fear? And I think trauma is a big word, but
Mhm.
if you small like not lessen the impact of that word, but lessen the scale of that word, right? So like
Yeah.
little traumas,
Mhm.
little times that you were scared enough to not be yourself,
Mhm.
build an unconscious like base. So like the questions bringing consciousness. It's it's scary by nature of confronting those fears. Those questions make you confront those little traumas, big traumas,
Yeah.
any trauma. So
Yeah.
it's like, and I think that's kind of like why it's really hard because it's inherently scary. And the easier something is to consume, the easier it is to alleviate the fear.
Or to just avoid it altogether.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that kind of reminds me of something that I saw a while back that was like your brain like it's an organ, number one. Like we think our brain is like us, but it's not. It's like its own separate organ, and like one of its like responsibilities is to store all of the things that made us scared and feel unsafe. And so every time, it stores that information. So like you said, like when you experience a little trauma or a big trauma or whatever, your brain stores that. And so every time that there's something that triggers that, your brain is going to bring that fear up again. And like it may be like something completely, like a completely different situation, like just a completely different situation, but it triggered that same trauma response and that same like fear. Your brain is automatically going to tell you to stay away. Like it's not going to push you past like that. Like you have to consciously do that. And like that is the creative process, I think. Like that is where the creation starts, because you are writing a completely new narrative for your brain.
That's bars.
That's bars.
No, but it is though. It's wow. Okay, hold on. I need a second. I need a second.
I mean, like, I think, like, ultimately, like, that, but also, like, our future experiences are usually dictated by our past experiences, which is basically what I just said. Like, those trauma responses, they are going to dictate your future unless you consciously decide that you are going to write something different, that you are going to create something different, that you're going to open yourself up to something new and something else. And that, like, and this is the part that I think everyone skips and doesn't like, no one like realizes this. That is your responsibility. Like, no one is going to come and tell you, you should learn to have more patience. You should be more compassionate. Like, nobody's going to come and tell you that. Like, that has to come from you. And like, maybe someone will tell you, like, oh, you're impatient. But all that's going to do is feed the narrative of who you are. It's not going to like make you decide, like, I should learn to have more patience. It's just going to make you believe that you are an impatient person. That, like, when other people tell you those things. But when it comes from you and you're like, hmm, like, I should learn to have more patience. Like, that's when the creating starts. And
That's that. I remember last episode I said, "Oh, that gives," or like you said something. I was like, "That gives me so much personal responsibility," or like I feel
Mhm.
much more personally responsible. But that makes me feel like not the opposite, but something else. Personal freedom,
Ins- oh,
inspiration. No,
I
literally,
was gonna say
literally.
inspired.
Yes, yes. That's the
Hmm.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And
Because like
I mean, like,
it's power almost.
it is it's so much power. And like I think we don't think we have power, but like we do. And it's in that creation, like it's like that's why I said last episode that I think it's important to approach your decision making process as a creation, like as a creative process, because it's the same thing. You are creating you and who you want to be, but if you don't ask yourself these questions, these fundamental like baseline questions, you don't get to the other parts, like you're not, like, if you don't start at the tip of the iceberg, then you're not going to get to the rest of the iceberg. Wait, I have a new one actually. If you don't start at the summit of the mountain, you won't get to the peak.
Facts. No, these are bars.
But I think oh,
Dropping
go ahead.
gems. My bad, my bad. No, I was just gonna say we're dropping gems.
Dropping.
Or is it jewels? The Young Thug song.
Oh,
Dropping jewels
no, I know what song
song.
you're talking about, but I just can't remember the name of it, and you're gonna make me look it up. Is it Dropping Jewels? I feel like
I
it's
think so.
one second.
No, you're good.
Young Thug. Miss that guy. I wish he would get out of prison.
Bring it Young Thug. Bring it harder. Bring it harder.
Oh, he dropped a song on June 14th.
Who? With who? Or solo?
It looks like it's just him. Oh, it's Young Thug, Lil Got It, and Lil Keed. Oh, and
Oh,
it's playing. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to go to it. Is it? No, you're good. It is Dropping Jewels, by the way.
nice.
Okay. Okay. Yes, we can wrap this up. I mean, was there anything else you wanted to touch on before we go?
We are flashlights. We, for our audience, that
Mm.
darkness that they're going through, or not going through, but is in them, and not like, oh, everyone's like dark and brooding. Just like darkness as an unknown. We can't go looking, but we can provide a little bit of light. Which,
Oh my goodness. No, I agree. Like I said, I want to create a community of people just coming and being themselves. That is my goal. I just want everyone to come exactly as they are and don't feel like you need to be any certain way, like other than who you are or where you're at, because where you're at is where you're meant to be. And it's so hard to not be cliche, but like so many of these things are so true. I think
as I've
oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, as I've gotten older, I realize cliches are cliche for a reason, and that's
No, that's real. I think I'm gonna make this episode creation part two. But I think there were a lot of things that I still want to get into that we didn't get to get into. So I think this episode I'm gonna make it creation part two, and the next episode we're gonna talk about how all of this ties back into content creation. Like ultimately, like how this all ties into what we're consuming, what people are creating, and like how that is affecting the masses, basically. So this one is going to be creation part two. Next episode, yeah, we're going to be getting a little bit more into content creation and content consumption. Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. It really means so much to me and Ollie. You have no idea. I hope you'll join us for the next one. If you're still listening, please remember to subscribe to our channel and smash that like button.
oh yeah, and leave comments, please, please, please leave
Yes.
comments.
Yes. Oh, there was something I wanted y'all to comment. What there was something that okay. If you're still here, comment that's bars.
Yes, no, I was thinking that. I was thinking that. I was thinking that.
When we kept saying that earlier, I was like, okay, that's gonna be the comment for this video. So if you are still listening, drop in the comment section, that's bars. Okay. In the meantime, if you don't follow our socials, they are in the description. I post on my Instagram story throughout the week. I just decided today actually that I think I'm gonna start posting more makeup content because I miss doing makeup and it's so much fun. So I think I'm gonna start doing a little bit more of that. Yeah, so our socials are linked in the description. Our podcast Instagram is linked in the description for announcements. But yeah, other than that, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
Just future stuff. Um, first off, go watch Paulina's stories. Second off, when she does makeup videos, subscribe to her channel. And third off, I assume the significant life events we were talking about in previous episodes regarding myself personally will be coming to a head pretty soon. And when that is settled, you will see so much more. We will get, we will give you back the Owl's Nest as well as,
It's exciting.
um, and look out for a Discord so we can interact with you guys more personally and more immediately. We again, we love you guys so much, and you have no idea how much you as an audience mean to us, and every single view counts. If
Mhm.
you're not a content creator, it may sound like, just like, oh, well, they need reviews or whatever. No, no. The views, each view is an individual person, and
Mhm.
it lets us know that we're reaching.
Mhm.
So
Yes,
please,
exactly. It's like it's community that like personally like that I'm seeking. Like that's like what my intention is like community. It's not because like I want more attention. Like it's because I want people to feel like they have a space that they can be them, you know? And like that's kind of my goal and my intention with this. So exactly what Ali said. Like it every single view is like okay, this reached someone, you know? It's not ever like I don't know, like that's as real as I can get with that. I don't have anything else to say. But thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you have a beautiful day or a beautiful night whenever you're watching or listening to this. And we will see you all next time. Okay, bye.